Hello, this is an overthinker. Hope you enjoy your stay. We're about to do an Erobos breakdown. We're going to be talking about the story from a simple form to the in-depth form to the gameplay and then some perception stuff. We're going to talk about a little bit about me because I feel like most people don't know anything unless you are a Patreon supporter. Thank you very much. So let's do this pretty quick. So first things first, an overthinker, obviously. I can't really explain my name. It'll take probably an hour to go through all that. Second, this game was not inspired by Skidmark or Liminal Space or Backrooms or any other trendy thing that's happening right now. I don't. When I do have YouTube on, it's primarily for music, and the other like 10% is just to support some YouTubers that have played my games. I just have their stuff in my background. It's just there to be there, you know. So I don't know anything about liminal space or backrooms. The only thing I know is just that it's like empty corridors or hallways. That's it. And it's gonna rank. I know it's a movie. It's about a kid, and that's it. But apparently this game is like that movie, so I guess that's pretty fucking cool. So I'm actually gonna watch that movie during spooky season in October, and that's about it. Most of my inspirations are for movies and music, primarily music. That's how that's how I can make my stories. That's how I write. That's how what influences me with my sound design, with my music. It helps me feel emotion. It helps me with life, right? That's what helps me keep going. Movies are really just camera work, coloring, effects, the atmosphere they do, the storytelling, right? That kind of stuff. And not in particular to horror, just any movie, really. And from there, let us talk about the story. So most people were okay with the story, like they could understand at a surface level, and there's some a couple interpretations going on that people were writing or saying, and we're gonna talk about one of the themes in this video that I'm gonna spoil. Out of the three, there's three things going on in this game, and I'm only gonna spoil one, which is the one I have an emotional attachment to. The other two I will not talk about. It's just up to you to think of how it is. So I'm actually going to cut this to pieces. So the first piece is you are praying on Earth and somehow you appear here at the sanctuary. Then a kid appears with no eyeballs and you start taking care of this kid. All of a sudden he gets blown up, he gets devoured by something, and then at the end you're talking with the kid again and maybe possibly save that kid. That's it. That's literally the story. That is the story. And for some reason, there's it was only very few, but very few understood that, and it's that as simple as that. For any of my games or for any game that you play or movie or whatever, just do that. Cut it into small pieces, and you should understand at least surface level what's going on. Now, so where it gets a little crazy, where we go more in depth into the layers. So basically you start, it's pitch black, you can hear jets moving across your ears, you hear explosions, and then you hear your main character praying. This story in particular, and a lot of my stories in the future, are grounded. The main character is going to be I guess like a personification, or just a lot of me is in the main character. I am working on a budget, so it works best. Especially, it's been helping me do incredible voice acting now. And on notebook entries, I did. It is kind of all over the place. Some parts were, good. Some parts were okay, and other parts were pretty bad. And then a few months passed by. See No Fear came out, and you could feel that emotion. And here we are in Erebos, and it's just good. most people have enjoyed my voice acting too. They say it's fucking great, and that's awesome to hear that. And I think in like 6 months, I just fucking leveled up in an insane level, and that's the point, right? I want to become perfect in what I'm doing. So here we are, and everything, sound design, etc., etc. So, anywho, before I ramble on a little bit, like just like real life, when I, coming back to the grounded reasoning, is that in real life, people would also, even if they don't believe particularly in God, they might pray if they're down in the dumps, right? Like, why is this happening to me? Like, please, someone help me. Like, especially if they don't have anyone to hold or to save. So you start praying, or you are religious and you just haven't been to church every Sunday or been praying lately, and you start praying. You don't know specifically to who or what. So from there, you just appear in this world. And you go to the house and you look around, there's no one there, and then your character starts to have like a breakdown. And in this breakdown, you start to realize, like, hey, maybe I should check the TV. So you go down there, you turn on the TV, and whatever is happening on Earth is indeed happening. There's giant hands reaching down to Earth and grabbing people, and there's stating to go to 995 for the safety area, right? And 995, 0909, 0423 will always come up in these games. It's an important factor in this. Next up is the darkness. So it becomes dark in here. I'm just gonna move the camera in here, and because I don't think I could be moving around talking. Anyway, from there it becomes dark, and then the kid appears. And then, with that being said, when you talk to the kid, as a player, you're freaked out because of this kid. He has no eyeballs, he's twitching. But as the main character, he's fine with it, as if it's normal. He's talking to this kid as a kid, and not as a thing or something grotesque, right? It's just as a kid. And from there on, you become like a caretaker. You feed this kid cereal, and you become this mess into this awkward guy taking care of this kid. And like I said, there's a lot of personification coming from me in this, and that's exactly how I would act with a kid. And while making this game, I was actually around a kid for 4 months, and me talking with this kid, it was super awkward. I just couldn't do it, so that's exactly how I would sound in this situation. And so from there, it becomes nighttime, and then you start to go upstairs and you find that the kid is playing or talking to something, and he points. And this kid never talks, right? He communicates with movement. So he's pointing, and you come over here and you look, and something is reaching for the kid's head. And then it ends, and from there, your character is just like, all right, let's go look for people. So you come down and you grab some stuff, and the kid's back down here, and this is where you don't necessarily lie, you bend the truth, right? Because it's a kid. When you talk to him, you're like, I'm gonna go look for your mom and pop. But in reality, you're really just looking for anybody. But you're just telling this kid, because he's a kid, you're putting him at ease. You're just saying, I'm gonna look for your mom and pop. That's what you would do in real life, hopefully. And then you run out, and this is a cool scene where it blends into the kid, and people won't notice until they walk about halfway through the door frame, and they're like, oh dear Lord, I'm the kid, and their hearts just sink. And it's such a wonderful experience, because just that nice camera switch did all sorts of fucked up things to your mind. So it was really cool. And while playing the kid, you walk around and you talk to the entity, plays hide and go seek, and then you switch back to the dad outside. And nice, an important thing here is that the main character states it shouldn't have been dark already, like as if he knows how like time works here, even though it's been cutting in and out. um from here you're rushing back home, like you know, like the character knows something. Oh, slams door, they open, or slams door open. There we go. Did I say that in reverse? I don't know if it sounded weird. Anyway, you run through it, you do see something weird is going on. You tell the kid to walk away, and the thing grabs the kid and runs up, and you go ahead and save the kid somehow from the grasp of its hands. And both of you are running, and then it gets grabbed again. Now there's a bunch of things are happening here at this moment. A lot of things. You can dissect a lot from here. So one thing. So you start to get nervous again. You're shouting. You're starting to like almost get to that like teary moment, and you start to like ask God for help again. And things just get worse when you start praying, because at that moment you're in the dark praying, right? It's this contrast where you're trying to get God help in the dark, nothing's happening. When it stops, it turns into morning, and the kid is somehow being grabbed into the air. And you know, in all the rest of the game, the kid was never messed with in the mornings. It was always nighttime that something was happening. So somehow the entity is able to use its power to explode the kid and eat it. And that moment you start crying, and it goes nighttime again, and the monster just makes fun of you for believing in such a thing, into a god that doesn't exist, and says that I exist. It's just such a 3 sick lines. It's so good. It's so powerful playing the game and then reaching that moment. Even a little side note, even my girlfriend, she didn't play the game, she's too of a scaredy cat, but hearing those 3 voice lines, she stated that it just stuck in her head for like in a week. In a week, and especially when she was like at work and stuff, it would just come up in her head. So I thought that was funny. So there's that contrast with gone and dark and out in the light, where you're going through that and then being made fun of. And especially in that moment, a little before that, I forgot to state that your character stated, I don't want to lose anybody again, which is another important information there. And then it cuts to the closet, to the ending. And from here, this is where the character development reaches its endpoint, right? Which is cool. So a lot of horror games are simple in the fact where they just want to scare you, and that's it, right? Jump scare, maybe read some notes. For some reason, open like 12 fucking doors. This is what I mean by my games are like grounded, because I'm actually telling the story like a movie, and with some like believable characters for the most part, right? At some parts you gotta do a little something. So here, so in the beginning you're a wreck. Nervous wreck, you become this awkward dad figure, and then at the end here, your voice is full. It's courageous. It's abrasive, right? And there's like no sense of worry, really, especially when you're telling the kid like, "Hey, something's gonna come for you," right? You're just being straight to the point with this kid. But I'm gonna save you. Like that's how courageous this person is. This is how confident the main character is now, and you can tell with just my vibrato and my voice now. And from there, even when you yell for the kid to leave, it's super confident. Like you did it. You know, get out of here. And from there, the main theme. You know, I'm gonna spoil it here, is that basically it's the faith within yourself, right? So instead of believing this make-believe God, as the thing said, your brain kind of deconstructed and you made it to be where you're confident with yourself, and faith within yourself, not believing in such a fake or real thing out there. And it's kind of like you are the God to the kids because you're putting faith within you. And that is one of the themes, and it's something that I put personally in there as my feelings, because it's the same thing with me. I made this because it was removing that faith. I was just checking on my dog. Okay. Removing that faith into something out there that might or might not be real, and just putting all that confidence within myself and being comfortable in my own skin. And that's exactly what I did with this game. So that was the main personal theme that I put into this. There's a few other things going on in the story if you do the same deconstruction, or you might not be able to figure out. There's a bunch of things going on, but yeah, that's one of the layers in there. And I think that's about it with the story. Yeah, I think that's about it. I guess it's gameplay time, huh? So before we start, basically, as I stated, all my personalities in there, or like my personification is in there, and so when I actually act in this, I do cry, I do yell at the top of my lungs. Like, I've lost my voice for like a whole week when I was doing the ending scene of this game. So it's definitely there. I literally am crying, and I got boogers in my nose after I do all the acting, right? So I definitely voice act the hell out of this now. So there's that. And let's continue with the gameplay. So there's very, very few people that said that there might have not been any direction, but there's a point where it just, here, I'm gonna explain this, it's gonna just make sense to you. So my games are non-traditional, right? I don't follow the same paths as a lot of games do. So I'm gonna break this down very, very neatly. So when you come up here, you see this big house, and if you do look around, even without hearing the character, obviously the first indication to do is go to the house. It's the only thing there. But your character does say to go check out the house. So you go over there, and already telling you that you're going right into the right direction is the title cards, right? It's telling you the credits, my name, etc., etc. You come in, and it tells you I should probably, check out the rooms if anyone is in here. So you go check it out. No one is in here. You have that, like emotional breakdown. Then your character's a bit smart, tells you go check the TV, so you turn on the TV. Then you're here, and then it cuts the atmosphere, and now it's nighttime. Now at this point, if you're not scared, this game was not for you. It's just letting you know, like, you should be feeling the atmosphere, especially walking, that the sound has been upped a bazillion times. That's just how it is in real life, right? You don't notice sounds in the mornings or in the afternoons, but when you are in fear, or at night when you're walking around, everything's oomphed up. It just makes sense. It's like reverb, right? When you're in a bathroom and you sing, or footsteps, or a long hallway, everything's echoes, right? And you tend to focus on those things more. So at this point, unless you were talking over it, you YouTubers. Just kidding. At this point, you'll hear something, and your character responds to it, says hello. That's your first indication to go to that noise. And if you're wearing headphones, which you should in all my games, that noise came from this door. And in the morning, if this door was open or closed, depends on what it did at nighttime. If the door was open, it'll close now, and vice versa. and you'll hear that. You'll either open or close, and you know the noise will change depending on that fact. So it's telling you to go over there. And I'm just, after explaining all this game, it should help you play my games in the future, because this is how I'm gonna do my gameplay, right? And even if you didn't hear it, the house is so small that it, even if you're aimlessly looking around, you should be feeling that atmosphere with everything going on. If you don't, like I said, it wasn't for you already. So if you check this room and that room and nothing's there, the only thing you could do is go upstairs now. So when you go up, something happens when you reach this point already. You'll hear a noise, and if you look in that direction, your character responds. But if you wait a second or two and then look, nothing happens. But if you walk forward, one or two events can happen depending if the front door is open or closed. And if you walk over here and open or walk through the door, an event or two can happen as well. If the closet door is open or closed, different events can happen as well. One of my favorite ones is if you come over here and open the closet door, if it was closed, and if you turn around quick enough, you'll see the kid actually running from the field to the house. And also, when you step away, you'll hear breathing behind you. If you look, it stops. And then if you walk over here, you'll hear something run to you, and if you look, all you see is pitch blackness, and it's just so fucking intense. But also, if you open it, if you walk away from it, looking at it, nothing will happen. And even if you turn around and you walk away, nothing will happen. So little details like that. When you come down the stairs, you'll actually see a shadow running across the wall. It's just crawling on the wall from left to right. So that's something I don't think anyone has noticed, and that's because it has no sound. There's a few things like that throughout the game that you won't notice, and to be honest, if you don't notice it, don't matter to me. I was just adding whatever I thought would be neat if someone did see it. So then either the kid will come through the back door or the front charging at you, or he's hiding in the shadows in the pitch black. He'll come out and scare you with no noise. Or if you peep through the door, or if you open a door, he'll be standing here looking at you in the pitch black. And then from there, the kid's over here, so obviously telling you like, hey, I should probably go check on a kid, right? And you talk to him, and you ask him if you want cereal, and you do that, which is funny because if you open the fridge first, or if you try to at least, it'll be like, I ain't crazy, I'm not gonna put that milk first in the cereal, so those sickos out there. So then you put the cereal and then the milk, and then from there, two things are going on. One, main character screams out like, hey kid, but the kid doesn't respond, so it's already telling you go look for the kid, right? And two, all the lights are off and your character says, damn, I gotta look at the ground. In real life, you would either crawl on the floor or put your hands out right in the air and feel your way around. So at this moment, it's supposed to intensify the darkness, because all you see is this little circle of light, and around you anything could happen. A jump scare, something could grab you, right? That was the whole feeling I was going for. So when you come over here, the kid's gone, and your character actually responds saying, like, where did this damn kid go? Doesn't say, the kid went upstairs, right? It's just, where did he go? At this point, you're supposed to be feeling it again and look for the kid. And like I said, even if you're aimlessly walking around, you should be feeling something, like anything could happen, right? And then when you come up, the moment you reach right here, the kid's right here, pointing at something. You're forced to walk over here, and that's when you turn, and the monster's trying to grab the kid. Fast forward, the character is telling you to, the grab. Sorry, my puppy was distracting me. You grab the shit, and then the kid appears. Jesus Christ, that scared the one second. That's my girlfriend calling. Okay, I actually had to watch the video because I was like, I don't even know what the fuck I was talking about. Okay, so you grab everything, then the kid is there, and then you go out. All right, so this is where a lot of things happen. So when you're the kid, when you start walking, you'll see the shadow of the thing walking here on the side. If you turn around, the sound stops and there's nothing there. If you walk, then the entity will jump to the table, to the chair, jumps off to the ceiling and behind the couch. And at this point, you have two choices: follow the voice and then look up, and you can see that it grabs the rail while talking to you, or just go up the stairs and it'll say, "Fine, I'll go up the stairs," and you can hear it running on the wall, up the railing, jumps down, and then runs into this room. So that's when you go in here, and that thing wants to play hide and go seek with you. And at this moment, that little police car comes out, and then you can follow the police car and hide underneath the bed. And this is where it gets a little crazy. So if this door, the room's door, is open or closed, something will happen differently. Or if the closet door is open or closed, something will happen. If depending on where you're looking during this time, something will happen. If you're hiding in this closet with the closet door open or closed, something different will happen. If you go in the bathroom and close the door, something will happen. If you hide in the garage with the garage door closed, something will happen. If you hide in this bathroom with this door open or closed, something different will happen. If you hide in this corner outside, and shout out to the YouTubers that did this, if you hide here, something will happen. And from there, if you hide underneath the bed, you actually hid successfully, didn't find you, and that's where you seek it. And it's doing these gross sounds behind the door, and when you open it, it gets louder, and then that's when you cut to the dad. Or if you didn't hide underneath the bed, it finds you, and then when you become the dad, that's when you start running, right, and then everything starts to happen. And that's about it with gameplay wise. There's a bunch of things going on here, like the food disappearing every day, and there's like bags upon bags of trash that appears here every day, and some other things, but I'm not gonna ruin all that. But there's just a lot of interpretations and things going on in this game that you can find too. And that's it with the gameplay form. So that was cool. Last thing is just, I guess, like perception, and like my audience and etc. So so something came to my head while doing this video and just looking at Steam. So if I would have released this game and not on itch, just Steam itself, I would have had more positive reviews. Instead of being mixed, it would have been positive. And right now on Steam, it's mixed. I think it's 66% right now. I'm just happy it's not negative. When it's negative, I would be like, oh, come on. Mixed, I'm cool with, because this game, well, my games in particular, you're either gonna love or hate. I don't think there's a happy medium with my games. You either love the shit out of my work, or you hate the fucking shit out of it. So it's just more of this artsy form of horror and reviving that sense of horror, because I've gotten so many comments or messages that just state like, thank you for doing things differently. I haven't felt this fear in years, or since Silent Hill 2. It's just crazy that you get those kind of comments or messages. It's just great, because that's the whole point of this, right? If I wanted to make money, I would be doing Poppy Playtime and what was it, Bam Bam or something like that. I haven't even looked at the gameplay of those, just little snippets there and there. But anywho, or doing those 90s slashers games, or the PS1 graphics kind of stuff. But I'm just focusing on my creativity and actually making horror fresh is the objective. So that's exactly what I'm doing. And with the mixed reviews, that doesn't bother me. The thing that does bother me is dumb reviews. If you look at the reviews, I'm not gonna show it. It was like, I think maybe 3 out of the 5, I would say, aren't even like worth the review. Like, it just sucks because your first 10 reviews are essential on Steam. So since I'm mixed, my visibility is gonna be way lower than people that have 10 reviews in their first day or week as positive. So that's why help out all your indie devs and give them a positive, please. And if you haven't given me a positive on Steam, do it, please. It helps. And so like one of them complained about the time and the money. And it's stated on the page that it is 20 to 30 minutes. They actually edited the review stating, oh, I guess it's stated on the page. And it's like, what the hell? Or two, someone complained that the gameplay was just like you walking around. It's like, it states on the store page, it's simple. It says simple. Like, you just walk. And another interesting thing is this game has replayability, as you can see with all the events that could happen. And I didn't even go into some of the stuff when you're the dad, right? I just kind of did the main events. And so the game's about 20-30 minutes for $5. But if you try to do an achievement hunter and do all the scary events and horror events, which takes time, coding, animation, sound design, voice acting, it goes to an hour or well over an hour while you're trying to find all these cool events going on. So, but it seems like it's underappreciated, right? So I think going forward, just making a longer game with no replayability might be the thing to do for me, or at least like horror games. So instead of being 20, 30, make it 40 plus, 40 an hour minimum for the $5 price tag, and just pack it up with more stuff instead of the replayability. I think that's one thing I learned. It's just interesting too, because like you look at Iron Lung, which I haven't played as well, but I have seen that it's super simple. You just press a few buttons, and I think there's like a fire extinguisher you can use. It's purely atmospheric, what I've seen as well. Super simple, and they're charging $6 for less than an hour of gameplay. So it's just interesting that because David has like a giant fan base already, and that niche audience, that he's able to get out those positive reviews and less of negative. But me, since I'm so small in this corner doing my own stuff, that I'm getting those negative reviews for things that he might not have gotten a negative for, right? So it's just that thing I wanted to bring up about perception. And I think that's basically everything I wanted to talk about. Just for my general audience that plays my games, like moving forward, how to like think about my games, and how I do things. So moving forward, and how to feel or view things, right? And I think that's about everything I wanted to talk about. So, bye.